and obviously your podcast is very focused on the same kind of thing. Yep. Did you know that this was the road that you wanted to take with the book instead of like a personal life? Because it's a little bit of both, but it's more you're giving advice and...
For sure. I knew I definitely wanted
to... Yeah.
More of a roadmap.
It's right there in front of me.
I knew I did not want to do like a Bachelor tell-all book. Yeah. I was like, that's not what I want to do. I want to stay in my lane, but I want to make it somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
And, what's more entertaining than hearing about a guy who goes on The Bachelor, goes back to work, and then gets kicked out the door because of a confession Kaitlyn made on the podcast. I mean, it was a wild day when I get the call from my boss, and he's like, so have you Googled yourself today, right?
What? Can you tell the full story of that for people who don't know?
Full story.
I don't think I remember.
Yeah, so I'll give you the full story. We're doing a live show. As you guys know, with live shows, you got to get shock value from the audience. It's different than podcasting because you 100%. Also want to entertain.
Yeah.
So Kaitlyn does the confessions. You guys know how the confessions work. If anybody doesn't, if someone comes on her podcast off the vine, you have to give a confession so the people that they're listening to and look up to, they can relate to the fact that we are all human. We all have embarrassing moments. We could all laugh together. And so her confession that night was that the first time we had hooked up, we dry humped. She had said that
yes, I remember
she orgasmed from dry humping.
Yes.
And then apparently after it, she had like a booger in her nose and I picked it. And she's like, that's how I knew this was my dude. And so, we're all laughing. Like, not thinking anything of it. Another funny thing about this story, I don't even know if I've told this, is I knew we were pretty hammered that night and I knew we had said some kind of crazy things. So I got the podcast. I went through it. I edited the whole thing because I was like, I don't want issues with work.
Yeah.
I heard that. I was like, it's harmless. I left it in.
Yeah.
And that's what killed me. All that.
You're like, boss, you don't like a little dry humping?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But it's also it also gets taken, you can listen and be like, oh, this is so harmless and fun. But then when the headlines, when it gets written about, like in Us Weekly, it's like Jason Tartick makes Kaitlyn orgasm from, it's like, so like they just take and then the bosses just see that headline and they're like, what?
What the hell? They're shaking up. And essentially it was like either restart your career here, no more of that. No podcast, no nothing, or go outside the bank and restart your own thing. And so these were the words they were using, restart. And so that's when I created the company Restart. And it just happened that the world turned upside down. And I mean, there's a great resignation and people about 48.7 million people voluntarily left their jobs in 2021. So people are like, their behaviors are now aligning with their career choices to like write their own path and do it their way.
I mean, like being home for COVID, I feel like changed so the business model for like everything, because so many of these companies that always require people to be around or be in the office, now everything's changing. People are choosing where they want to live. They're like, I'm going to keep my job, but I'm going to move across the country. And now like employers say, okay.
Sure.
Right. And people have more freedom and they see that like you could do a lot of stuff from home, I feel like. And I think, even in my own family, people were like, I've been working, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this job when I'm seeing this person on the internet do something cool or like make their own business? So was it a relief for you in some way to leave that job and kind of do your own thing?
For sure. It was a relief and it was expected. I was going to leave anyway, like 12 months from that. Now, I didn't expect to leave that early, but I knew I was going to. And
now, was it like that day? Like how quickly was the turnaround of being like, all right, I'm out of here?
It was pretty quick. Yeah. It was pretty. And the thing is I had to do like a lot of covering up, right? Because the message was I was going to start my own thing. And additionally, I don't know how, like I didn't want my parents to know the whole situation either. So until they read the book, they just thought I was leaving to go do my own thing. They didn't know the whole circumstance. And I even had employees at work text me like, wait a second, I was at your going away party. You're kidding me. I didn't know any of this shit. So it was like,
wait, you had to leave?
Yeah. And then of course you get all like the Bachelor Nation, the trolls that are like, oh, another guy just going to like do nothing for his life. Like, what are you doing now? And so I just
another Bachelor guy writing a book.
Writing a book. Yeah. So anyway, but I think there's a lot of great stories in here. If anyone's having like any career confusion, it's a great book to turn to. And I told stories from like the Wall Street executive offices that I would be in and get to see some of the craziest things from behind the scenes of unscripted television, how people position, negotiate, brand. And I do think it's a page turner.
It is. And not only because it is good, but we are in this book.
Shocking.
That's right.
Shocking.
You guys made it.
Yeah, so if we didn't sell it to you enough already, we are literally mentioned in the book. I was taken aback. I was going through it, and I was like,
wait a second.
Hold on a second.
Is that me?
I was like, wait a second.
You guys are in there.
I'm like, wait, about them getting together? Like, I'm like, about Kaitlyn and Jason getting together? I was like, wow, we're mentioned in a different way.
About our career?
Saw it first, and Rhea was like, oh my God, are we actually getting credit for setting them up? And I was like, no.
You're like, not quite, but we're in there.
And, you know, Erica's got her little
blurb
on the back, as well as a lot of, you know, very cool people. And so we're very honored to be mentioned with a lot of very, very cool people in this this book. And so how much did you take from the podcast, you would say, your podcast, to help you with this book?
I would say a decent amount. So the one thing I talk about is like breaking the blueprint. And I talk about like anybody you look up to. If you rewire how they got to where they didn't do it the way the blueprint suggests. They failed. They always considered to pursue their passions. They made sure what they did, their skill sets aligned with. Like The Rock, people like The Rock, right? His story. Guy was broke, NFL player, had nothing going for him, and was still like, I'm meant to be in entertainment. I'm going to keep going. And so when I thought about blueprint breakers, like I knew their full story, I think both of you guys are blueprint breakers, right?
Thank you very much.
You're not going to Georgetown, doing it your way, the way you wanted to do it. You guys started with Barstool, and Barstool was nothing. And look at the brand you've built, regardless of what that guy said in Kaitlyn's prank. Chicks in the office have built a hell of a brand.
It actually worked out that I wasn't able to be a part of that.
I actually, that's what I said too. It worked so well.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to watch it back?
Yes, I did. And she texted me immediately after. She was like, it went over like so well, and she showed me what Kaitlyn was like texting them during the interview. I was like, oh my God,
we were cracking up.
I don't know if I would have been like, I feel like I almost would have been fighting back.
Your composure, by the way.
I know. I almost like,
I saw some clips of you like smiling a little bit.
You were like smiling, you always had one move. You'd be like,
I know. I was just like,
but
I tried to like kind of play it off as like, oh my God, I'm trying to like laugh at how absurd that this interview is. But backstory: Jason pranked Kaitlyn for April Fools. He set up a whole fake interview that was supposed to be like a women's empowerment panel. And it was Kaitlyn, myself, and Robin Shaw, and the comedian hired to interview. They set it up where it was like supposed to be a friend of Clayton, and Clayton was in on it and like encouraged her to go on and do the show. And so, and then this guy like is a total dick to us the whole time, talking down, like basically saying to me, he's like, wow, I really thought two of you would be here. Like,
he kept intentionally calling you Rhea.
Kept calling
Rhea,
Rhea.
Thank you for being here.
He kept calling me Rhea. He kept basically asking Kaitlyn questions, calling her Hannah Brown.
Supposed to be in this? Like,
show,
he was like, I keep seeing your name. I was like, yes, but it's just funny.